This information, ladies and gentlemen, Space God want to go to the manipur to know that something major coming to Canada to happen. I understand international major coming to something happening in Canada. So God give the wisdom and knowledge to ascend into manipur to receive that. Government of Canada coming on the news very, very big time. What is happening, what is going on.
Blanketed eastern Canada for the past couple of days have now been lifted, but the effects of the deep freeze remain. Some Maritimers are still without power or running water a day after frigid temperatures and high winds broke cold weather records in all 4 Atlantic provinces. CTV's Hafsa Arif now on a difficult defrost.
This information come mostly to many people. This happening already.
Halifax was in the grips of an extreme cold snap.
It's certainly some of the coldest weather we have seen.
Not felt in decades. That St. John, New Brunswick, wind chills, not felt in decades. That glacial weather wreaked havoc on many, from tens of thousands across the Maritimes losing power to frozen and now bursting pipes.
I think I've ever experienced cold like this.
On Cape Breton Island, there's worse. His general
to receive that many parts. What is happening? The Great Fire of 1900 Ottawa held. But I understand God releasing something very, very major to Canada coming by space. To their capital city, according to information I have, is coming to their capital city as happened in 1900, which is the year. This information, the God want to go to Manipur to receive that. This happening already in Canada.
Incredible dash cam footage as people leave Beacon Hill. You see the ash falling, the embers, flames right alongside, the situation growing worse by the second.
This information happening before 2 weeks before this fire happening. I send a message to their country. God want to bring international fire to your country. God releasing fire, and God did release this fire. So this information God wants here coming to the news about Canada. Not only news, world news, because it is not earthquakes what is coming. It is the major acts of God. Major, you can call acts of God, or you can call disaster. God releasing major disaster to the Canada, which is happening before, but God releasing from now to their country, to bring in basically their country on the breaking news. God want their country coming on the breaking news by angel of the God coming for major disaster to their country in Canada. So this information God want to go to the Manipur to receive that. Government of Canada coming on the news, breaking news word for major tsunami, and risk is for this. Risk is for this happening. Which is happening before. Whole thing be ashes in the capital city. But I understand this is coming after tsunami, but which is not going to be chance to the Canada to walk out from this tsunami, because what I understand God bringing major tsunami to the country, the capital city Ottawa. God want completely everything in Canada be freeze, and completely their capital city parliament be destroyed, to bring in this man here message in the world. God want his message going to the international world news to receive that, as God did here for McMurray,
as people evacuate to safety.
as God did fear, he want to go on the news by these earthquakes, because God want to bring my investigation in the international world news can receive that Canada did crime and Canada pay consequences, in which is we are talking about at least 700,000 trillion, if it's not 10,000 trillion. So this information going to the many part to receive that government of Canada coming on the news.
8.9 magnitude. Now, we know that's a big number. It was the
And by the major got released in a space attack as happening before, but got released in this for the final in Canada to bring their country under my investigation for basically got one lawsuit against their government in Canada, what they did cost behind my case, behind my future. So this information coming to many part to receive that government of Canada coming on the news for national emergency. But this national emergency costing, as I told, their government for the bankruptcy, because God want breaking down the government system in Canada. What is coming, what is happening right now is not important. What is this all this happening is not important, but what is coming is not important. What is coming, what is happening, but what is coming is the important from now. And God want this information going to many parts to receive that Canada is coming on the investigation for national emergency evacuation to their capital city, their parliament, to all 7 their city, Quebec, Ontario, Montreal, all the buildings they have, Quebec, all the buildings they have facing this shaking earthquakes, which is the threat to tsunami, 7 to tsunami got released into government of Canada, which is each one costing at least, as I told you, that holding that city be destroyed on the as happening here, Fort McMurray. But sometimes God send the fire.
Well, we wondered who captured that.
Sometimes this God send the fire. Sometimes this sun God send the tsunami to the country. Same time, tsunami being same thing as happened in this city. Everything they had is become ashes. According to information, they spent $10 billion for this. According to God here, $10 billion cost this fire for the Canada. But we are not talking about $10 billion. We are talking about at least 10 of thousand trillion. I am talking about at least what is coming to their country, because God want to bring final movement in the world, and because I am in Canada and they did cost me serious crime, negative behind my future. God want to bring their country completely everything become like this part here. There was a before happening in the capital city, which is happening before. It's happening. Ottawa beyond the ashes all over by the fire, but this time by tsunami, which is tsunami costing same thing here as fire. This information going to many parts, ladies and gentlemen, to know that this information coming to root in the breaking world news. God plan to bring in government of Canada under my investigation for 700,000 trillion, according to God, before God let Canada walk one step forward from now, what is coming to Canada. What is coming to the other country from now.